Hello and good afternoon. Thank you for attending today's webinar. Today we'll be looking at enhancements made with the Solid Edge Subdivision Modeling environment. We're consistently adding new MCAD, ECAD, and CAM content to our Prolim YouTube page. So if you haven't already, go ahead and follow us and check us out so you can get notifications of all the amazing free content as soon as it's available. A little bit about myself, if this is our first time meeting. My name is Aaron Creech, and I've been with Prolim for over 2 years now. I have over 20 years of end user experience, much like yourselves, and during that time I've worked in the manufacturing, architectural, and automotive design industries. I've built a strong working knowledge of most popular 3D CAD design softwares, such as Inventor, CATIA, SolidWorks, several Autodesk products, and obviously Solid Edge. And as a senior application engineer with Prolim, my main focus is on Solid Edge mechanical and electrical CAD design products. My career interests include generative design, additive manufacturing, 3D printing, and process improvement, or Kaizen. So with this year's release of Solid Edge 2022, we've continued to push more content out to kind of highlight some of these major changes for this development of this product. With exciting new capabilities such as CAD Direct, Design Configurator, Point Cloud Visualization, Accelerator Share, Convergent Hybrid Modeling, just to name a few. There's a ton of new content out there. So we're trying to focus on some of these really popular, more commonly used, and maybe even some of the higher benefit modules that we feel we'd really love to share with you guys. So today I'd like to talk to you again about Solid Edge Subdivision Modeling. Here's a quick look at the agenda for today's webinar. We will discuss what subdivision modeling is if you're new to it, what are some of the benefits of using subdivision modeling, and what's a typical workflow look like. And then we'll do a couple of hands-on examples of subdivision modeling, focusing on some of the new enhancements with Solid Edge 2022. And then we'll take any questions you might have at the end. We just ask that if you save your questions until the end of the webinar. So let's go ahead and get into it. So first, what is subdivision modeling? Subdivision modeling is a task environment within Solid Edge in which you can create free-form spline shapes, either solid or sheet bodies, by manipulating and subdividing a control cage of the initial primitive shape, such as a block, cylinder, sphere, or a torus, kind of like you see here. The subdivision command is located under the surfacing tab and is accessible within the part or the sheet metal or ordered or the synchronous environment. So this will launch you into the subdivision modeling environment with tools and commands specific to just the subdivision modeling. You see a quick image here of the toolbar. So you could use subdivision modeling to create products requiring organic, aesthetically pleasing, or even some complex shapes. Here are a few examples from consumer, automotive, and the recreational design spaces where subdivision modeling might be used. You can use this to create tools to modify solid or sheet bodies created with the more traditional modeling methods. Here are a few other cool examples in my opinion. A fun fact, Disney's Pixar studio actually uses subdivision modeling technology to use some of it to create some of these popular faces you see here. And a few of these images were also rendered using the Solid Edge Keyshot application that's also included free with Solid Edge when you download. So, here are a couple of benefits of the subdivision modeling and why you might think, why you might want to use it. So it expands the shape and surfacing capabilities of Solid Edge by letting you create shapes not easily modeled with traditional methods. Traditional features and surface commands can be used in conjunction with subdivision modeling to refine the shape and to add even further detail to the part. Complex shapes are created and edited more quickly, which promotes earlier conceptualization of a design. So you're going to get that design out to the floor to manufacturing a lot quicker. The simple interaction of subdivision modeling commands avoid needing to use complex and sometimes very time-consuming tools to develop just some simple base shapes. Drawings and downstream applications of subdivision modeling are also possible. Subdivision bodies are created using spline surface patches, so they can be placed right into a drawing. And of course, there are some limitations to that. Resulting bodies are also available for downstream applications that support spline faces and bodies, such as this simulation you see here. Now let's take a quick look at the subdivision modeling workflow. The simple interaction of the tools in the subdivision modeling task environment let you create shapes not easily modeled with traditional methods, using the following workflow to develop the basic shapes of your design and then refine the shape to add even more detail to your design with other features and surfacing modeling commands. So in a part or sheet metal document, open up Subdivision Modeling task environment by selecting the Surfacing tab, Freeform Group, and then there's your Subdivision Modeling command. And then once you're in the Subdivision Modeling environment, choose any of the commands in the Home tab under Shapes. And that will start, that's the starting point of your new model. So you can start with either a box, a cylinder, a sphere, or a torus, kind of thinking back to what your overall design is going to be, and you kind of try to guess to be what would be the easiest base shape for you to use and modify to get to your finished product. So next, we would change the default initial shape dimensions. So here we started with a square, and we're going to give it some dimensions so we can further control it. And then we can right-click to display the control cage, which you see in number 2 here. Then we would modify the basic shape by pushing, pulling, and rotating elements of the cage body by using the steering wheel and other synchronous tools. So you can also make minor modifications to the existing body using these commands in the Modify group. Use the Scale command to change the size of the body, and you have a couple of different options here. You can do it in all dimensions, which is a 3-axis scaling option. You can do it in 2 dimensions, which is a planar scaling option. Or you can just do 1 dimension, which is just linear scaling option. You can also control the origin of the scale in the uniform option. You can use the blend command slider to control how much selected vertices, edges, or face pull on the body shapes, providing control over the curvature of the model around the cage elements. You can also use the split command to add subdivision faces or faces along edge across a selected face. Use the fill command to repair a shape by creating a missing face across a connected edge. You can also create more sophisticated shapes using the commands in the Modify group. So we can do a split with offset. We can also move or create faces using the offset command. And then we can connect cage faces or edges on one or more bodies with the bridge command. And then we can fit faces to a curve using align to curve. And as you can see here, the ones highlighted in green here are new commands that were added in the release of Solid Edge 2022. So as you create and as you edit, you can use symmetric mode to make subsequent local changes symmetric about the user-defined plane. Using the Pathfinder in subdivision modeling, you can convert a subdivision body into a design body by selecting the toggle design construction command on the shortcut menu. Then you just close the subdivision modeling to exit the environment, and then you're back into your traditional either sheet metal or part environment. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at some real life examples here. So now I'm inside of Solid Edge, and I went ahead and created a couple of quick examples here, utilizing the same kind of workflow, the subdivision modeling workflows, just to create a couple base features here, so you can kind of see how they interact with each other. So we have 2 bodies here, as you can see. They're not connected in any way, shape, or form. And we're going to go ahead and hop into the subdivision environment. So just double click on the feature there, and it takes us right into subdivision environment. With only showing us tools that are applicable for this type of procedure. So again, we've used a cylinder or a torus. We've used a torus here, duplicated this twice to create 2 little cylinders. And now we're going to utilize this bridge command. Again, this was a new inclusion with Solid Edge 2022. So if you're working on an older version of Solid Edge, maybe Solid Edge 2021, I don't think you'll have these options just yet. But we'll go ahead and go into the bridge command. And again, that bridge command is just going to help us bridge 2 bodies into one. So we'll go ahead and just show that real quick. And as always, I'm gonna go in here and I'm just gonna create a couple of features here, and I'm just gonna select one of the cage boxes, and I'm gonna go up here. I'm just gonna bring it straight up. And now you can see before I click anything, I'm getting a quick preview of that vertices line. So you can see that it's connecting from this point to this point, and that's going to control, kind of if I want to twist in this part or not. That would, if I wanted to twist in it, maybe I would go over here to to this portion here to put a twist in that. We'll look at that a little bit later, but always be mindful of kind of where that vertices is heading. And Solid Edge does a really good job at giving me a quick preview before I, maybe click the wrong thing here. I'm going to go ahead and select that, and you can see I've already got it set here to segment. So the segments is going to be a pretty big control factor for you. The more segments you have, the more control you have over the kind of the output of the bridge or whatever feature you're working on. So I'm going to go ahead and crank this back down to maybe 2. It should default to 2. If this is the first time in Solid Edge, this environment, this will be probably set to 2. But as you can see here, setting it to 2, now we've got this kind of more rounded. It's really just looking at this 2 separate segments in here. The more I increase it, the more it kind of refines that geometry a little bit tighter. I think the max is probably 15. I think. There you can go up. Oh well, you can go up quite a few. You can get pretty flexible there. But let's take it back down to 2 just for the simplicity's sake. And you need at least 1. All right. So I'll go ahead and hit OK, and then I'm going to right-click and out in space, right-click again to kind of finish the command up. And now you can see that there's a nice little structure there that kind of connects those 2 together. So now I'm going to go ahead and just kind of go back into the bridge command and do that again. I'll create one on the opposite side here. And again, I'm getting previews before I ever select anything, so I can really drive home the, what I'm really looking to do here. And again, I'm kind of mindful of that vertices and making sure I don't have a twist in it. Because at this point I don't need it. And hit OK, and then that's it. Now you notice I'm still in the command, so I can just keep going on here. So, and not only do I have to go up and down, but I can also even create some interesting little features here. And again, pretty seamless and pretty easy to do. And if you were to do this using traditional modeling procedures, this might be a little bit more complicated, but now thanks to the subdivision modeling, we can do this pretty quickly and easily here. So we'll go ahead and kind of just make it a little bit more uniform. I'll do the same thing on this side. There we go. Left click to accept. Maybe I'll do maybe I'll put a twist on this back side. So maybe I want to do the twisting on this top side. And again, so I'm going to get that. You can see my vertices is kind of diagonal there, so it's telling me, hey, you might get some weird result here. And if I increase the amount of segments here and go to hit OK, left click, you can see, kind of hard to see for this one, but there is a twist in that geometry. So if that is the intent, then it's very easily done. So that's a pretty cool feature with Bridge. But not only, so we just did some vertical supports for this part, and that's great. But we can also do some supports that actually go across this side here. So let's go ahead and create a beam across the top of there. And again, almost effortlessly. And you can see that one also has a twist in it. And now for this one, I'm going to actually intersect that. So I can also intersect these existing supports that I'm just creating. So if I select this base, circle back around, hit this side, and again, this one won't have a twist in it because that's how I selected the vertices. Okay. Right click to accept it. And now if I want to close out of the subdivision modeling, I just quickly close out of it. Now you can see I've got this very weird looking, somewhat symmetrical part. And again, it only took me, a few minutes to create this, what would typically be a kind of a complex part if you were to just model this thing, even using synchronous or an ordered environment. This might take a little bit longer. So again, one of my key kind of focal points is process improvement. And if I can save myself a little bit of time here and there, that's going to build up over a day, over a week, over a month, or even a year's time. So that not only benefits me to make my job a little easier, but it also benefits the company to kind of help the bottom line out a little bit. Let's go ahead and look at another example here. And again, we'll kind of focus back onto the bridge command. But as you can see, here's another example. So this was created using 2 cylinders and a torus here. But then also you notice that there's a 3D sketch here. So this is actually a curved 3D sketch. And I'm going to go ahead and go back into the subdivision feature here. Just double click into it. And then again, I'm back into the subdivision modeling environment. So if I go back into the bridge command, I'm going to do a couple of quick features here just to kind of drive home the fundamentals. So I'm going to select some cross members here. I'm going to create a bridge from this cylinder to the top portion of this torus here. And again, being mindful of those, this one's got a twist in it, which is okay with me. And we'll do the same thing over here. Maybe this side won't have a twist in it. There we go. So you can kind of see the difference between the twist and the not twist. I'm going to go ahead and create another feature here, connecting the very bottom here. Again, mindful of my torus. Go. There you go. And as you can see there, you know, very, very quick and very easy for me to create some weird geometry here. Kind of looks like more of a generative design concept, but we'll go with it for now. So now I want to create a bridge across the bottom here. So I want to create a bottom structure here to kind of give me some additional support. So let's go ahead and do that. There we go. And I'm just going to leave the segments at 2 for now. I'm going to left click once, and you can see that previously I would just right click twice in the window here to get rid of the command and finish the command. But if I just single click to accept that yes, I want this bottom support, it does take me into this shape curve. So now I can specify an edge to be used as the shape curve for the bridge. So a shape curve can be used with or without this selection. So I've already got a 3D line in here now, so I'm going to go ahead and select this line here, and you'll see what happens. So you can see it pulls that geometry down to that curve. Now, because I only have 2 segments here, I've just got 2 chunks of material here. But as I mentioned before, the more segments that I add in this step here, you'll kind of start to see, maybe a little better if I look at it straight on. The more segments I bring in, you can see the more that curvature of that bottom bridge is really kind of conforming to that 3D sketch I have there. So the more increments I have, more segments I have, the more control I have over the kind of the finished product. So I'll go ahead and hit accept here, and I'll left click one more time to get me out of there. Sorry, right click, and then I'll close the subdivision modeling. You can see the kind of the finished product here. I'll go ahead and hide the 3D sketch for clean it up a little bit more. But as you can see, pretty easy. Didn't take me very long at all to create this somewhat complex looking part that, and again, back to the, you know, if I would have tried to do this in the traditional modeling practices, this probably would have taken me a little bit more time. So now we'll look at one more example, kind of focused on the bridge command here. So in the previous 2 examples, you saw how I was adding geometry within the subdivision modeling to create some structural supports inside of the bridge command. So here's another quick example here, and I want you to see I'll kind of do a couple different operations in this one part. So again, I'm going to go into the bridge command. This time I'm actually going to select this inner profile of this part. So if I select the one side and then come back over here and select the back side, so you can see that not only am I able to create some structural geometry inside of the subdivision modeling, but I can also, as you can see here, create cutouts in some specific parts. And again, because I had that previous offset inside of there, it was basically 2 toruses kind of combined together, I was able to cut that out. So pretty cool there too. And I'll do one more quick trick in the bridge command. So, and again, previously we're either adding to existing geometry or cutting from existing geometry using this bridge command, but I also have the ability to kind of create some stuff out in space too. So let me change my segments down here for impact purposes. But I can also kind of create this, using this command, I can create geometry that kind of just float out in space. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And again, utilizing utilizing this shape curve, I can select this curve that actually doesn't connect to anything out in space. So it's going to guide me and create this this profile here. As you can see, I kind of like to refer to this as like maybe a candy cane structure here. But again, because I've got segments set to 2, it doesn't really look as great as I'd like it to look. So by increasing the segments, you can see here that it's going to really start to conform to that profile a lot better than what it's originally set to. So again, the more segments I have, the more control I have over the finished geometry. So go ahead and hit OK here. Right click, and then close out of subdivision modeling, and you can see that now I've got another really cool, really quick and easy, weird looking hook part that, again, I keep reiterating myself here, but definitely a lot quicker than it would have taken me to do in the traditional sense of modeling. So finally, we'll look at another example here, and we'll review a couple of more additional features that were added with Solid Edge 2022. So split command is not new, as I mentioned before, but you can see there's a new drop down here. So there's this split with offset. So a split with offset by offsetting edges inward by user specific value, so inward or outward. So it's going to offset edges to the inside of a profile that I select. So let's go ahead and look at this. So I want to create more of a little bit further control in the center here. So I'm going to select these two segments here, and you can see what it's doing is it's creating kind of an offset parallel profiles around this border. And again, I can put in a value of 2, or I've got 0.2, but if I went 0.5, it would make that a little bit bigger. So I have some ability there to modify that. But let's go back. I'm actually gonna create that with a 0.2 offset, and I'll go ahead and hit accept there. So now you can see I have that inner profile here. So just to kind of recap here, so we're trying to replicate. We've got a 2D sketch in here, and let's go ahead and hide this so you can see it here. So we've got a 2D sketch that was created from our rendering team or whatever, and we want to kind of duplicate this in the modeling environment. So again, I just imported this sketch here, and we want to kind of create some geometry. I've created some basic geometry to kind of give me the base structure of this part. Now I'm going to kind of create my screen. This is kind of what I'm gunning for here. So if we go back into the model here, I'm already in the environment. So now I'm going to actually use this offset command. So this offset command is a little different than the offset split with offset. So this is going to allow me to offset a face or some key points away from the face of the base model. So I'm going to go ahead and select this profile around the edge of the screen to kind of give me that lip that I need around the screen. So and again, it's at 15 millimeters, but you can kind of see what's going on here. So left click here, and you can see that it's created this kind of lip around the edge. So it's going to give me more of that screen effect that I'm kind of shooting for here. Maybe not match this rendering exactly, but you kind of get the picture. And again, so that was all created utilizing this offset or bridge command or fill command or stuff like that. But let's say there's been a design change real quick, and now I did it at 15 millimeters, but actually it's 20 millimeters. Let's say 25. So I can go back in and shift click on all these edges that I just created, and then by simply using the synchronous steering wheel, I can just select those edges, and now I can just make that whatever thickness I want. I can just pull it up to some crazy space, or I can say, okay, I want it at let's do 25 millimeter offset, and there it is. And again, that's pretty drastic, but I kind of just wanted you to see the end result. And then we'll close our subdivision modeling, and I'll even hide the sketch, and you can see that there's kind of the original basis, or the kind of the base structure of my model that I'm going to start creating more cutout features and stuff to get it that final look that we need. So there are just a few examples to kind of highlight and show kind of some of the major improvements or techniques within the subdivision modeling environment. And I know a lot of customers, our current customers, don't really use this a lot, but I encourage you guys to get in this environment and play around with it on your own time. You'll find that it's very easy to use and really fun to play with. It's almost like playing with Play-Doh, in my opinion. So in summary, we saw the basics of what solid edge subdivision modeling is and what it can do. We saw some additional benefits of subdivision modeling in real time in comparison to maybe some traditional methodology that most of us are used to using. We also saw the enhancements to the already very cool, very easy to use mode within Solid Edge. The new bridge command effortlessly connects edges or faces of subdivision cages and creates a lofted structure between them. And kind of just a side note here, we are back to offering our in-person hands-on training classes at our Cincinnati campus. We also have remote accessibility for those that are still unable to travel, but as always, in-person is always preferred. We offer the following classes on a monthly basis: Solid Edge MCAD, Fundamentals, Advanced, and Ordered Specific Training; NX CAD, Essentials and Advanced; and then we also have the NX CAM or SE CAM Pro, Fundamental, Advanced, and Turning. And finally, as a Solid Edge wire and harness design product, we are still developing this full training content, and we'll be updating our training website once it's available. There have been some improvements and enhancements with the Mentor on-demand training modules as well. We are also providing a free trial for the Solid Edge electrical wire and harness design on our website currently. So for information, you can contact your sales representative or find additional information and training schedule on our prolim.com training website. So now at this time, we'll take any questions you guys may have. And as always, if there are no questions, thank you very much for your time.